Okay, for those of you that stuck with me, sorry about the uh, late start, but the computer was acting up, and I'm hoping that everything will be coming through okay. So anybody that's in the chat can, if you'd be so kind as to let me know if things are working the way they should, that would be great. Um, so anyway, as you know, we're still working on this segmented vessel here, and I've made pretty good progress. And I went ahead and I went ahead and finished the inside and glued up the top and bottom half uh, of the vessel. So, see if I can show you. So, right now we have the top and the bottom half. The insides have already been turned and finished, and now we're going to be working today on shaping the outside and getting some of the details done. This is probably the most exciting part, because now I'm going to get to see what my vessel actually looks like. You know, how well the pattern was executed in the feature ring and all those kinds of things. So that's very exciting. So I did do a few things since the last video, such as turning and finishing the inside. And I had thought about trying to get some video of that, but that didn't really work out. So I'm going to try something a little different today, and I'm just going to show you some pictures of the process. So this right here is a little video that I took and posted earlier on Instagram. Let's see. And this shows what the inside of it looked like after I had put some finish on it. And the finish I used on the inside is just a simple wax finish. I used a little bit of Yorkshire grit to smooth it out, and a little bit of, I think it was Brie wax. Hey Jeff, how's it going? And then, let's see. So let's move on through some of these other pictures. And here you can see me getting ready to glue the two halves together. Last week, I went ahead and flattened the joint I went ahead and flattened the place where the two pieces come together to make sure that it would go together flat. So here I'm putting glue on and getting ready to put the two halves together. Alright, and then this is just a little video of the two halves going together there. Basically I mounted the bottom half in the chuck on the lathe, and then I have that Nova adapter that allows me to mount a chuck on the tailstock, put those in, and I was able to draw those up together and use that setup to clamp it as well. Make sure I'm going the right way here. And then this is where we are right now at this point. So there's one other thing, which I guess I could show you live. Let me get out of this. All right. So this mark right here, I just use this to line up where I wanted these two to go together, because it's not exactly centered, which that happens kind of regular, but I wanted to keep it so that the place where it was the place of greatest difference, I guess, off of round, was on the same side for both halves. So I went ahead and figured that out approximately, and then I made a mark so that I would know where to line these two up. And because once you get the glue on here, you know, it's kind of like racing against the clock, so you really don't want to leave anything to chance after you've gotten everything set up. You know, you want to be able to just put this thing together and be done with it. And I also made this mark to make sure that I got the seams lined up properly, which looks like I didn't do that great of a job, but it'll do. So, all right. So the next thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to go ahead and start to shape this out. Let's see. All right, so what I'm actually going to do, you know, I've been kind of thinking about this, and I was wondering if it was better to kind of shape the outside and the inside while it was still in halves, because then it would be easier to check the wall thickness as I go along. But I decided I'm going to do this as an experiment. Some of you may know that I'm doing two of these at the same time, so I'm going to do this one this way, and I'm going to do the other one the other way, and maybe I'll do a follow-up video or talk about it in a future live, what my results were. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and do this one this way because I've already glued it up. So I'm going to be using my 5/8 inch bowl gouge here. Alright. And let's see, where am I going to start with this? So I guess I'll just start down here near the bottom. No particular reason why. Alright, make sure I'm not hitting the rest. Alright. And you might be happy to know, I certainly am, that my lathe has been repaired and no longer clicks. So let's go ahead and start cleaning this up a little bit. So the first thing I want to do is start to get rid of these points here, these jagged, these steps, I guess would be a good way to describe them. I want to get rid of those and start to see what kind of shape is available to me once I get rid of all that stuff. Alright, so I got rid of most of those steps, so now I can start to see what kind of shape is available to me. Now, I don't particularly plan mine. Some people, you know, they go through a lot of math and formulas and things to plan exactly how it's going to come out, so they have a better idea of the exact shape they're going to get. But for me, it's always a little bit of a surprise doing it this way, which I'm okay with that. So I'm going to go ahead and keep shaving this down until I get the sides pretty smooth. Now, right here you can kind of see where it was off center a little bit. So you have extra material right here, And on this side, I've already cut that smooth. But there's plenty of thickness here, so I shouldn't have any trouble getting down to a smooth surface on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll probably take out a little bit more of this. Probably take out a little bit more of the feature ring as I go, because it's a lot easier to go down the points this way and then come up. And then once I get that done, then I'll start to work the other direction. See where we're at now. Alright, pretty much got it. I got a little bit more to go right there, and then I'm going to take a little bit more off here, and I'm going to get my depth gauge out, and my calipers out, and start to check the wall thickness and make sure that we're still good. So I'm going to go ahead and continue this cut down towards the base and keep rolling. Alright. Alright, so now I'm going to be using my calipers to check the wall thickness. And the way this works is when this end touches, when this end of the calipers touch, on the other end, those 2 points come together. So that's how you know how thick your walls are. I really haven't figured out a way to get enough of this in view of the camera that I can show you both ends at the same time, as these are pretty long. But so far it looks like the walls are still fairly thick, so I have plenty of room to design this thing the way I want it, and I also have enough thickness to go ahead and turn this feature ring down quite a bit, so make it fit the rest of the sidewall here. Thanks, Dylan. Alright, so let's level this out a little bit so I can start to see what my design's going to look like. that's where that noise is coming from. Alright, so now we'll get a chance to see what our pattern looked like. That's pretty good. I got a little bit of tear out there, but we'll work that out as we go. But that's looking pretty neat. And I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with it before, but I kind of like this idea that it kind of come up in a, if you look at the far side of this, actually, you look at the far side of this, it goes up pretty straight. And then now I'm going to curve it over. So I think I like the look of that, so I think I'm gonna go with that. So I'm gonna keep this side fairly angular, and then I'm gonna curve it over to the top. So we're gonna go ahead and start working on the top part now, and I'm keeping some tailstock support up here because all truth be told, the little tenon that I mounted this thing with is probably a little smaller than I really should have made for something quite this big, but it'd be okay because I really don't have to hollow it. Really don't need to hollow it from the end. I'll just be able to turn the outside, mount it between centers, and then I can pull this away just for the very end to dress up the opening at the top. Jeff asks, what kind of wood is this? So the bottom is some kind of brown oak. It's in the flat. It's pretty. It's fairly nicely figured, and I cut these segments such that the face grain of the board is what we're actually seeing here on the sides. So the side grain would be between the joints. So I'm hoping that that will highlight some of the Rayflex, and it did actually have a little bit of curl in it. So I'm hoping that that doing that will highlight some of those features. And the light colored wood is maple, and the pattern here is walnut as well as the base. The foot is also walnut. So so oak, maple, walnut. So I'm going to go ahead and start working my way the other way. See how that's going. Okay. All right. So I cut this top ring to be pretty wide so that I can navigate the top. So I have a lot of room to work with on the top. But I'm kind of digging that shape. What do you guys think about that? So I think I'm kind of feeling that. So I'm going to go back and work on getting rid of some of this tear out that I got going on here with the maple, and fix up a couple little issues going down the side of the piece. And I think that is going to be my shape mostly. I think I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna do here at the very top though. I might actually add another ring maybe. We'll see. So let's go ahead and work on the sides. So at this point it's really just, getting to, whatever shape you want. It's pretty easy turning because it's all side grain. There's no end grain to worry about. It's pretty interesting that this maple is tearing out like that. That wasn't something I expected, but not something that can't be dealt with. I'm rolling the tool over on its edge a little bit and using it in more of a scraping motion just to get a nice smooth cut. I'll go back with my bigger scraper and fair this curve out a little bit. And when you're fairing out when you're working on your shape, you want to make sure that you keep an eye on the horizon line. For me, it would be on the back side. Well, it would be on the farthest side from you, that prevailing edge. When you're cutting on the front, it's difficult to tell what changes you're actually making to the shape. That's why you want to look at it from the back. Right now, I got a few lumps in here, and keep working on that. Take a look, see what we got. Alright, see if we took care of that tear out in the maple. Pretty much, there's a little bit left. I think I could probably sand what little bit is left in there. I could probably sand that out of there. So, alright. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same for this top bit up here a little bit. And fair that shape out a little bit, smooth things out a little, and then I got to figure out what I want to do with the transition to the top. Hey Kurt, thanks for joining us, and yeah, I'm glad the lathe is sounding better as well. It's much better. So now I got to figure out what I'm going to do at the top. So I think what I want to do is just have a little transition. So I think I'll come in right about here and basically cut that top piece maybe kind of sort of in half to allow to have just a little bit of a transition before we get to the mouth of the vessel. So I don't think I'm going to put a lid on this one, but who knows. I don't know how well the camera shows this, but this oak has some very nice figure. It's got a lot of, I can see a lot of the ray flex, and I think a little bit of that curl is starting to come through. I know that when I finished the inside, it had a very nice golden brown kind of color to it, which is very surprising for an oak, or at least in my experience. So let's get down to this and wrapping it up. So here's my line here. So what I'm going to do, like I said, is take this. So I'm going to come up and turn this curve in right a little sharper right there to basically cut this just cut the outside of this basically in half. So let's pick up the cut there. Okay. So I think I'm going to soften this curve just a little bit, and I think I'll be pretty happy with that. Okay. All right. So now I'm gonna switch to a spindle gouge and start to work on getting the lip portion, the shoulder portion correct, where I want it to go. It's gonna be a little tricky working in here, but I think my detail gouge should give me just about enough access for this. How's it going, Harold? No, I really haven't talked about finish yet. I'm actually not 100% sure on that at the moment. As you know, I do like to do a shiny CA finish, but I've been trying to experiment with some less glossy options. The inside of this I finished with a wax, which actually looked very nice. But I think since I'm doing two of these, one of these is going to be CA finish, and the other one's going to be wax. So this is the one that I'm doing on the live. So I'll go ahead and leave it to you all to decide, which way you want me to go with it. Would you like to see it done with, see it finished with CA, or would you like to see it finished with wax for a more of a matte, natural kind of finish? So you can go ahead and leave it in the comments for this live video, but I will probably do the same thing. I'll probably pose the question on Instagram as well, and you can weigh in there if you like, or you can weigh in here, because I can do either one. Actually, I won't be doing, will I be doing a live next week? No, I won't be doing a live next week because I'll be traveling up to North Carolina to do an event with Klingspor. So it'll be 2 weeks from tonight when I'll come back and revisit this, and at that time I'll be doing the finish, whichever finish you guys all would like to see with it. So what I'm going for is I want to cut this under, and so that I can cut kind of, I don't know, like a little flare or bugle shape or horn shape, or however you would describe something like that. So I'm going to make a few cuts. See if you can see that. See if maybe I move it this way, and like this. Sorry about moving the camera, I'm just trying to get you a better view. Let's see. And I have a little light down here. Okay. So maybe move it over here. All right, see if I can work around this thing. So basically what I want to do is I want to come in here and I want to work under. I want to kind of cut in this way to create the shoulder, and then I'll cut down to the new shoulder there. I just don't think this light's going to work out. Too hard to work around it. So hopefully that's a little bit better view. So I'm going to continue to work my way under, remove a little bit of material. These are the places where this grind on this tool that looks pretty aggressive and pointy, sharp. These are the places where that really comes in to help, because I can really get down in here and get a nice clean shoulder and transition from the OG curve on the top of this thing to this shoulder bit right here. Oh, look at that. A couple of glue spots there. Might need to go back and cut that a little bit further back. So far this is looking pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and roll the edge, and then I'll pull this away, and then we'll work on the end of it. But before I do that, I got a couple of little glue spots that I noticed right here, where there's the very end, the very tip of that flat, the very, I don't know if it would be a tip, but the flat right there is still showing on this side. Yeah. So I just need to take off just a little bit more in this area right here. It's a good thing I caught that. Hoping that will do. Let's see. No, still got a little bit of it in there. I'm going to do just a little bit more. Trying to make sure that I don't change this too much. I see. Harold asked, does the wax build up in the pores? Yes, actually it does. Which is nice for the finish because it gives it makes the surface a little bit smoother because it kind of acts as a pore filler also, or at least from the experience that I've had on the interior so far. So let's see, and then let's see. I'm just checking to make sure I got just a little bit more there. And the thing I'm really trying to do is keep from changing. I really like this OG right here, so I'm kind of trying to keep from changing that. Trying to work down into the lower section of this curve here. Okay, let's see what we got. Yep, I think I'm happy now. All right, so, and I don't feel any noticeable change in my OG curve, so I'm pretty happy there. And so now we're going to work on the end of this, and I'm hoping that this works out all right because, like I said, I don't really have much of a tenon on this thing, so I'm going to have to be very gentle. The more I think about it, the more I wish I would have given myself more room to work. But nothing I can do about it now. Okay. See if I can get a better view out of this. Okay. Oop, went the wrong way. I will get the hang of this one day. Okay. So now what I need to do is just work on cleaning up this edge here and then taking out, it's pretty square on the back, and I want to get rid of that. I want to get rid of that square edge right there. It's actually pretty sharp. So I'll be using some kind of hollowing fixture to get rid of that. I'm also curious what my mating surface looks like. So I don't know that you'll be able to see this, right? I'm gonna try to zoom in there. I don't see. Okay. So I got some light in there. So maybe I can show you where the two halves meet up, and it's pretty consistent in there. I don't think I can. Let's see. Let's say maybe. All right. Now I can't get the right angle for you, but anyway, where they meet up in there, it's actually about 1/8 of an inch. So I'm probably gonna have to go in there, even though I've already finished the inside, and take care of a little bit of that because I can see some glue and stuff in there. So, but anyway, I have to deal with that some other time. Let me finish up the neck here, and yeah. So let's work on this edge here with my bowl gouge that I put somewhere. There we go. Okay. Alright, so I don't like that. I'm going to probably need to get my steady rest involved to do that. I just don't feel comfortable turning that, I don't think. Well, I go ahead and give it a shake anyway. Harold asked if I sometimes fill the grain on open grain woods to give a smooth finish with gloss. Actually, if I go with a CA finish on this piece, what I'm actually going to do is I'll show you how I use a heavier viscosity CA as a pore filler and sealer before I do the gloss coats. So yes, I do make an attempt to fill the pores before I put the gloss finish on there. Alright, let's see what we got. Doesn't feel like it's rotating like really true, but you know, seem to be getting the job done here. So I'm gonna switch to one of the Easy Wood hollowers. There. Switch to one of these and see if we can't finish this part off. I don't like that. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm gonna need to put a steady rest on this to hold it. So I guess that's where we're gonna have to end this one until next time, because I don't want to have you waiting for me to see if I don't know what's going on with this thing. I don't want to have you waiting for me to go and set up my steady rest on here. So this is where we are. I'll go ahead and take the chuck off so I can give you an idea what it looks like off the lathe. Get this thing off of here. Okay. All right, so here's where we are to this point, right? I'm feeling pretty good about it. We got a nice wall thickness. It's a little thicker than the walls are a little thicker than I would like, but you know, doing it this way, that's kind of just the way it ended up going, I guess. But I am pretty happy with it. Fairly excited about getting some finish on this thing to see just what that wood's gonna look like. And again, camera probably won't show it, but there's a very, very small tenon on there, which is a big oversight on my part. I definitely should have put a bigger tenon on there, which would have given me more confidence when I tried to clean up the inside of the opening here. So next time I will have, take this off. Next time I will have a steady rest on here. I'm hoping, right now I have the one-way bowl steady, and I'll be using that. Got crazy mask hair, helmet or face shield hair. Next time I'll have the at least the one-way bowl steady set up so that I can use that to steady this piece and go ahead and finish off this top part before I get into the finish. But I'm also hopeful that I'll have a new steady rest in the shop by then. We'll see if I could pull that off by then, because I'll be doing some other things in the future that I'm going to need a steady rest for. So anyway, let's see. I see a couple of you felt, a couple of you were about as nervous as I was trying to turn that thing without a steady rest. But yeah, so next time I will have that. So remember, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to post some pictures like I always do to show the results of tonight's live video, which will be pictures of this in the current state that it's in. And please go on there and let me know what kind of finish you want to see next week. If you want to see something that's more matte and natural looking, or if you prefer to see my CA finish, because you know I put on a mean CA finish, and if you want to see how that's done, this would be a great opportunity to see that, especially because this is a rather large piece. I don't really have a, do I have a ruler nearby? Actually, I do. I think it's about, I think this thing is like 12 inches tall. Yeah, it's like 11 and a half. I think it's like 11 and a half inches. So if we do the CA, I'll show you how you do pieces this size with CA. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for joining me in the shop as always. Like I said, next week I will be traveling to North Carolina next Wednesday. Got all this sawdust. I'll be traveling to North Carolina next Wednesday. Oh, other side? Yeah, whatever. Sorry. So I'll be traveling to North Carolina next week for the Klingspor event. If you happen to be in the Hickory area, I'll be at the Hickory store next Saturday, Friday, and Saturday, the 30th and 31st, I believe. Wait, 29th and 30th, sorry. So if you happen to be up there, feel free to come out. Please come out and see me and say hi, and I'm hoping I'll have some stickers by then, but we'll see. And I guess, as always, thanks for coming, and remember, get out in your shops, make something cool, and dreadnought and make something. Peace.